Hello and welcome to Lord of Facts. You, sitting here watching me right now, are likely watching me from some kind of building. Unless of course you're homeless or watching from a plane or train. For those of you who are definitely in a building, think about where you are for a moment. It's probably pretty basic. An arrangement of squares and cubes that isn't too different from the arrangements of squares and cubes next to it. This is perfectly fine for most of us. It provides shelter and protection from the elements. But for some, satisfying these needs is not enough in a building. They want to experiment and create wacky and bizarre buildings. Let's take a look at some of these today. Novelty architecture, also known as mimetic architecture or programmatic architecture, is a style of architecture where buildings are designed to resemble other things, particularly everyday objects or animals. The style was especially common in the US during the 20th century. The intention of novelty architecture is often to attract attention or visitors, usually in the form of roadside attractions, like Lucy the Elephant in Margate, New Jersey, or the many teapot-shaped buildings that can be found throughout the US. It's not uncommon for these buildings to have forms that line up with their functions, such as the Kansas City Library in Kansas City, the National Fisheries Development Board building in India, or the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Florida. One of the best examples of novelty architecture is the Longaberger Basket building in Newark, Ohio. This is a giant picnic basket shaped building, 61 meters tall and covering an area of 1,700 square meters. The basket is the world's largest picnic basket and opened in 1997 as the headquarters of the Longaberger Company, an American producer of handcrafted maple baskets. It was designed to resemble the company's most popular product, the medium market basket, which the Newark building is 160 times the size of. Windows are represented by the basket's gaps, and there's a glass ceiling that allows natural light to enter, in addition to two giant handles that collectively weigh 136,000 kilograms. Longaberger HQ cost around $30 million to build. Construction difficulties occurred because the upper floors were much wider than the lower floors. In 2016, Longaberger employees left the building, and by 2018, the company's headquarters is shut down for good, leaving the giant 7-story basket abandoned. However, in January 2021, it came back on the market for $6.5 million, with a proposed new use for the building being a hotel. A large local effort has also taken place in recent years to preserve it as a landmark of the area. Weird buildings have also been made as an imagining of the future. In Montreal, Canada, you can find the apartment complex Habitat 67. Stretching 2 to 3 city blocks, this unusual and blocky construction was designed by Moshe Safdie when he was only 23 years old. Safdie was a student at McGill University and designed Habitat 67 for his thesis. He later put his designs into practice, building Habitat as part of the Montreal World Expo in 1967, which was an event based entirely around visions of the future. Habitat 67 is made up of 354 cubes, each covering an area of around 56 square meters. Many cubes can make up a person's home, and there are videos showing what they look like on the inside. The cubes were made beforehand and stacked together on site like Lego bricks. In fact, the entirety of Habitat 67 was planned out using Lego bricks, with Safdie utilising them in order to get an idea of how everything could fit together. Habitat 67 was designed in an attempt to reimagine apartment living in the city, as the question of how people were going to habitate ever-growing cities was of big concern in the 1960s. Today you can take a tour throughout the offbeat layout of Habitat 67. The building divides opinions heavily, with many calling it one of the ugliest buildings they've ever seen. And it's also the only Canadian building to feature in books about modern architecture. Habitat 67 isn't the only odd building to make use of cubes. In Rotterdam, in the Netherlands, you can find the cube houses. Designed by Piet Blom in the 1970s as a solution to the problem of building houses over a pedestrian bridge, the houses were created to look like an abstract forest. Quotes by Piet Blom can be found all around the premises, and you can go inside the 45-degree angle tilted cubes, with the Stayabelle Hostel chain of hostels allowing you to stay the night in a cube. There's also the Show Cube Museum, opened by one of the residents, that allows you to see what a fully furbished cube looks like. Rotterdam as a whole is well known for its modern, post-World War II architecture, largely because the city was heavily bombed during World War II. Some buildings have been designed to look distorted, to make you look twice and question what you're actually seeing. The Dancing House in Prague is an excellent example of this. Created as a tribute to the famous dancers Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, and designed by Vlado Miljunik and Frank Gehry in the mid-1990s, the Dancing House is designed to resemble two dancers, sometimes being referred to as the Astaire and Rogers, with the rock tower being Fred and the glass tower being Ginger, although that name is more commonly used to denote the restaurant on the 7th floor. The towers stirred up a large degree of local controversy when they were first built, with many considering them to be out of place amongst Prague's historic architecture styles. Inside the Dancing Towers is a restaurant, an art gallery, a hotel, and a viewer gallery on the 8th floor, known as the Glass Bar, that allows for stunning views over the Vltava River and the city of Prague. The Crooked House in Sopot, Poland looks like a bizarre warping of reality, and was inspired by the fairy tale illustrations of Jan Marsing Sangza, along with the surreal artworks of Per Dahlberg. The eccentric style building opened in 2004 and was designed by Sudzinski and Zaleski. On the outside is distorted walls and windows, with an unusual shaped roof featuring blue-green shingles reminiscent of a cartoon dragon. Inside there are shops, restaurants, cafes, pubs, clubs and offices. It also contains the Polish equivalent of the Hollywood Walk of Fame, where Polish celebrities sign their names upon visiting. The Crooked House has received multiple awards, gaining the status as one of the 7 wonders of the Tri-City area, which includes Sopot, along with the nearby cities Gdansk and Gdynia. Upside-down houses have also been built, such as the Upside-Down House in Bournemouth. When you see this building, it looks as if a giant has pulled a house out of the ground and then chucked it back down the wrong way up. The interior appears to defy gravity, with the furniture and decor stuck to the ceiling, creating a bizarre and trippy illusion. There's also Wonderworks in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, which is like the Bournemouth House, only on a much bigger scale. Some individuals have also taken it upon themselves to create their own quirky and unusual houses. New Zealander John O'Williams created this futuristic skysphere in Palmerston North Island. This is a 10-metre high man cave that gives striking 360-degree views over the nearby countryside. Everything within the sphere can be reached via the ladder in the central pole, with the futuristic tower being accessible by the means of fingerprint ID. One is able to program in around 250 different fingerprints into the tower's computer system to give many different people access. The upper section has everything you could possibly need, such as a bed, sofa and some lights. Jono is able to control the lights, music, projector, beer dispenser and even front door using his phone, with the entire house being powered by solar panels on the roof. At the very top is the Star View panel, which can be used to sit and gaze up at the stars. Jono designed it all out and ordered the materials from China, in addition to taking a welding course to figure out how to make his dreams a reality. Jono got his mates to help him, spending around 60,000 New Zealand dollars and 3 years to complete his vision. A 45,000 kilogram concrete slab was used to bolt it to the ground, and the structure is made from 8 mils steel, which is able to withstand an 8.5 earthquake or 200 km/h winds. In northern Portugal, you can find Casa de Peredo. This translates to stone house or house on the rock, and is a 2-storey home made from 4 large boulders. Completed in 1974 by being built into each of the boulders, this charming abode blends in beautifully with the surrounding landscape and has a cosy, rustic style inside. Despite being very near to a wind farm, the house has no electricity and was initially used by the owners as a holiday destination. Currently it's a small museum displaying relics and photographs from the stone house's history. Other examples of unconventional houses include this airplane home built by Bruce Campbell in the Oregon woods, a beer can house in Houston, Texas, a house in Japan featuring giant slides spanning the entire house, a self-built hobbit house in Pembrokeshire, Wales, and the Dunlap Hollow Cave House in Rockbridge, Ohio, which is an Airbnb hollowed out of a cave. Weird hotels can also be found throughout the world. At the Ice Hotel in Sweden, you can sleep in rooms made entirely of ice, on beds made from giant slabs of ice. When staying, make sure to wrap up warm and use the provided sleeping bags. A bathroom and toilet can be made available, but you have to pay extra for them. The hotel also has an ice bar, where you drink beverages from a cup made of ice, as well as art exhibits featuring all kinds of ice sculptures. The Ice Hotel is rebuilt every year after melting in the spring. In Cusco, Peru, you can stay inside these glass capsules on the side of a mountain. The pods can only be accessed via rock climbing up a cliff face using a ladder and zipline, and have enormous glass windows that allow for amazing views over the nearby valley. There's also Japanese capsule hotels where you can stay within tiny cubbyholes. In addition to the Dog Bark Park Inn in Idaho, the Feralda Crane Hotel in the Netherlands, and the Red Kite Conquer in Wales, amongst many others. What's the weirdest building you've ever been to? Tell me down in the comments below. And if there's any other examples of bizarre buildings you can think of, I'd be interested to hear them. Thanks for watching.